It sounds great in your head until you speak. And then you lose money, credibility, and opportunities. Look, you know your stuff. You have something important to say. So why does it all fall apart when you open your mouth? This isn't just about talking clearly. It's about making every word work for you. Let's start by fixing the biggest articulation mistake holding you back right now, so you stop pushing opportunities away when you speak. I know this works because I spent 30 years interviewing experts and leaders on global TV and stages across the world, and I train them to become more articulate. I see so many people banging on about how you must read the dictionary or lots of books to become articulate. If you want to find new ways to express what you know, absolutely go for it. But breaking news! More words can add to your problem. The thing is, you're already an expert, so instead of more words, use the ones you already know. It's about how you use them. Tip number 1 is more words won't make you more articulate. They make you more forgettable, which will definitely happen if you use certain words. Let me show you the words to cut. Imagine listening to someone on a podcast, in a meeting, in conversation, who uses 1 or 2 words over and over again. What does your ear pick up on? We're primed to notice words that repeat, which means that other important information is missed. But it gets worse. A perception is created that you are not the best communicator, which morphs into you're not the best at what you do. Now let me put my journo hat on. If I was editing, producing, choosing a clip, I'd delete these words and I'd make a note not to interview that expert again. Okay, now let me tell you a secret. I have this problem. My go-to word a few years ago was basically. These days I'm working on not starting sentences with so. So, kidding. This issue slapped me in the face recently when I was going through an interview. I'd been a guest on a podcast and was sifting through it. I'll share why in another tip. And I was astonished at how many times I said, right. Well, let me show you. It's my go-to verbal tick. Right. Do you know yours? It wrecks your articulation and turns you into an annoying speaker, especially if you repeat the word close together. By the way, more breaking news. Hesitation sounds, things like and are okay. What? Yes, you'll see what I mean in a minute. But first, let me show you the other speech habits that drag down your articulation and impact. Words that we lean on but don't add value. Actually, that's another one I use a lot. Words we say to fill space but don't have meaning. Interruptions in our speech, repeating words or restarting sentences, for example. Actually, never mind. What about and Well, when you make the sound because you're thinking, that's absolutely fine. Are able to access information that adds to your credibility. It's obvious that I decided to change the way I was explaining things. You want to be human, not a robot. When you're speaking in a relaxed, off-the-cuff way and show that you're processing what you know, the odd cements your authority. Most of us, we don't even know we have these habits. So how can you find out yours? Record yourself. Get the transcript. Overused words will jump out at you. Delete them and practice speaking without them. How does it feel? It'll definitely sound better. Tip number 2, speech habits weaken clarity and impact and mean you come across as less articulate. When you cut the clutter, you raise the impact. But hang on, what does being articulate even mean? TED's head curator was once asked, what matters more, the content or the way it's delivered? He could force himself to listen to someone who was saying something important but wasn't a great speaker because he'd get something from it. But if someone was great at delivery but sharing nonsense, he'd be annoyed. I'm paraphrasing. Now, you don't have the luxury of the TED stage convincing people to give you a chance and listen. You're in meetings, presentations, on podcasts. People will judge quickly and harshly. Being articulate means expressing your ideas clearly and simply in a way that others understand easily. And you need to nail two things to do this: what to say and how you speak it. Tip number 3, being articulate is about mastering your content and your delivery, because if no one's listening, you don't exist. But it's not enough. Let me show you how to become someone people can't wait to listen to. The guests we loved having on my BBC programme were brilliant at explaining huge, complex global issues in a simple way. A way that meant you could immediately understand how it affects the economy, business, your pocket, life. It's such a rare thing that we had to resist having them on speed dial. The trick was that they never started with their expertise. They always spoke from the perspective of the audience and why they should care. Stop focusing on what you want to say. Instead, think of how the audience needs to hear it. For example, expert speak. I've worked in the media for over 30 years. I help people communicate better. Hooray for me! Audience focused. I used to decide what got cut from global broadcasts. Now I help you say things that won't be cut. The questions to answer are: who are you speaking to? What do they care about? How do they need to hear it? Tip number 4 is reverse engineer your communication. Start with what matters most to the person you're communicating with and how they need to hear what you want to share. I mean, you've done the hard work of becoming the expert or the entrepreneur you are, and now you want it to pay off, right? Right? Here we go. There are 2 ways of speaking. One commands trust and opportunity. The other loses you both. When I interview or train someone, I can immediately tell who's speaking in which way. Getting it right starts before you say a single word. It starts with writing. It shows you how you think. If you structure your thoughts on paper, you're more likely to control them in speech. But what can you do to get better at this? Okay, you can choose a video. It could be this one or any of someone explaining and sharing information in a way that you like, and get it transcribed. Better still, listen to a sentence, pause and write it out. Swap what's being said with your expertise and examples. Write it out longhand. Yes, put pen to paper, don't type. Writing by hand uses more neurons and links thoughts together. You have more aha moments. The way you speak tells me how you think. It needs to be clear to you first so you can make it clear to others. Tip number 5. Writing helps you simplify and streamline your thinking, and it trains your brain to think in complete, compelling ideas. But there are words you want to be known for and big up. How do you explain what you do? I was reviewing the interview from a couple of years ago to look for words I still use, ones I've dropped, and how my way of explaining what I do has evolved. It was part of my prep for writing this book. I have specific terms, phrases, frameworks I've created, words I deliberately say, like the 4 Ps, the 3 Cs, and my hierarchy of a brilliant communicator. When you watch my other videos, you'll see that I refer to them. People who get my newsletter already know what they are. This is the language of me. What's your language? The best way to discover it is to be in flow. In what I call thoughtless communication, it's the natural, instinctive way you share what you know and do. Go on a walk, answer 3 questions out loud, record yourself, transcribe it, highlight your patterns and phrases. Use these as prompts. Think of the top 3 questions you were asked this week, the top 3 misunderstandings about your niche, things you wish people knew about what you do and how it helps. Create a document. Call it something like "Wonderful Ways I Articulate What I Know." Add phrases and words you like, ones that you often use. Become aware of what people pick up on, what words stick when you interact, and add them to your document. Tip number 6, discover your language, your words and ways of communicating. What's your favourite song or piece of music? I love The Planets by Gustav Holst. Great music creates emotion. It draws you in. It keeps you engaged. It's the same when you speak. There's a rhythm, the rise and fall of pitch, pauses, emphasis. Melody shapes a song. The way you speak certain words shapes meaning. In my TV days and when I'm on stage or on video, I decide which words guide clarity and reinforce important ideas. I underline them or write them in all caps and give them an energy kick when I say them. Now that you know this, you'll hear it when I do it. You do it. Decide which words you'll emphasize before you say them. Enunciate. Give each word weight and space. This'll help. Warm up your free magical tool, your voice and your vocal cords. Get your tongue and mouth ready to work. Exaggerate the way you move your mouth, your face, your tongue, and speak your words. And wake up the range of your vocals. A famous actress would do this by saying, hip flask. Hip was the up, flask was the low. Hip flask. She'd say it over and over again. What was in the hip flask probably helped too. Singing is a great way to do this. I love an app called Musician. It's fun, interactive, and gives instant feedback. It costs around $15 a month. So tip number 7 is your words are the notes, but the way you speak them, well, that's the music. But there's something essential you need to have to make all this work. Imagine someone singing a song, but they seem embarrassed by the words. Now, if you think about it, the words to many songs are kind of cheesy. But if a singer doesn't believe in them, you won't. It's the same when you speak. Now, I had this problem when I first decided to stop doing what people wanted from me, moderating panel discussions, media training the C-suite. I transitioned from being approached for opportunities. I've never applied for a job in my life, and I've worked with these types of organisations by invitation, to wanting to work with people who didn't have a clue who I am. Experts and entrepreneurs brave enough to invent their own version of success. And I felt smaller, that what I know isn't really valuable. The point is, if you are in any way apologetic, don't stand firm and in full ownership of what you know to be true and why it's important and how you can help, well then, people aren't going to wait around to try to figure you out. What can help? Practice speaking your truth. Record yourself. Play it back. Is there conviction? Are you giving yourself the gravitas and power you deserve? Slow down and own what you're sharing. You know it. You are it. Tip number 8, which is the answer to everything that follows, is if you don't believe in your own message, you will never sound like a person worth listening to. You don't need perfection. You need conviction. Putting yourself out there to share your brilliance can be stressful and your nerves can kill the moment. So how can you stay calm and speak with confidence? Well, my newsletter subscribers know how to do this. Subscribe and watch this video next.